Hello and welcome to Extra Innings. I am Vann Noland alongside Owen Noland with you on this Tuesday evening. We have a lot of MLB news to get to, a little bit of minor league baseball news, and if we have time, college baseball. The College World Series is getting ready to start in Omaha this next weekend. We may get to that, but that is if we have time. We have a busy show for you as always, and that's why we are going to get it started with the Prospect Roundup presented by Fire Fan. Owen, what do you have for us tonight? Yes, the Prospect Roundup presented by Fire Fan, taking a look at the best performances from around the minor leagues in a busy night of baseball from last night. And we start in a San Diego Padres system that is loaded with top prospects. One of them we'll highlight here, Fernando Tatis Jr., son of former big leaguer Fernando Tatis. Fernando Tatis Jr. is a shortstop for the AA San Antonio Missions. That's the AA affiliate of the San Diego Padres. Last night, he went 1 for 4 with a home run and 2 RBIs. Yeah, 1 for 4 isn't that incredible, but the home run, it was a 2-run homer. And that's sort of an off night for Tatis Jr. lately. He has been on fire, getting on base in 15 straight games dating back to May 22nd. Again, that's Fernando Tatis Jr., a shortstop in the San Diego Padres organization. The next player comes to us courtesy of the Atlanta Braves single-A affiliate in Florida. Ian Anderson is a right-handed pitcher. Last night tossed 7 innings, only allowing 5 hits and 2 earned runs. He walked 3 and struck out 5, using just 99 pitches to get through 7 innings. He's the number 5 rated prospect in the Atlanta Braves organization. Again, that's right-handed pitcher Ian Anderson for the single-A Florida. Our next player is in the Blue Jays organization, an outfielder and a first baseman, Ryan Noda. For single-A Lansing, went 3 for 4. He had a multi-homer day, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs, and obviously 2 runs scored. Noda is the Blue Jays' number 17 prospect in their organization, currently at single-A Lansing. Again, that's Ryan Noda, Blue Jays' first baseman and outfield prospect. Our last player comes to us from one of the greatest nicknames in minor league baseball, the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, the AAA affiliate of the Philadelphia Phillies. And the Iron Pigs player is Iniel de los Santos, a right-handed pitcher for them who tossed 8 innings, only allowing 1 run on 5 hits. What's most impressive to me, though, no walks, 7 Ks on 87 pitches. 64 of them were strikes. So 64 out of the 87 for de los Santos yesterday were strikes. He didn't walk a single batter. He struck out 7. He's the number 12 prospect in the Philadelphia Phillies organization, and he's playing for the AAA Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs. Again, that's Iniel de los Santos. And with that will conclude today's Prospect Roundup presented by Fire Fan. Be sure to download the Fire Fan app on the App Store today. Lots of fun things you can do on that. Again, this has been the Prospect Roundup presented by Fire Fan. And I will let Van take over now for some MLB news. Yes, All-Star voting began a few weeks ago, and the MLB released the first updated look at the fan vote to this point. We are going to start in the American League with the catcher position. The Yankees slugging catcher Gary Sanchez leads the way with 336,000 votes. On the year, Gary Sanchez is only hitting 190. However, he does have 12 home runs and 35 RBIs. So I would assume part of that is just because of all the other Yankees that are doing good. All the Yankees fans decide to just vote for all the Yankees. But not to be overlooked is Wilson Ramos, who is only about 16,000 votes behind. And that may seem like a big number, but in fan voting, there are many fans that vote for all the players, and 16,000 can be made up in a matter of a week or two, especially if the Rays faithful decides to get behind Wilson Ramos and wants him to really start the All-Star game, because Wilson Ramos has had, well, the better season to this point. Ramos hitting over 280, 8 home runs, 32 RBIs, getting a lot of playing time already with over 200 at-bats for the Rays this year. Next, we will go to first base. Catcher and first base are the two closest races in the American League. First base is led currently by White Sox first baseman Jose Abreu with 267,000 votes. Abreu on the year for the White Sox is hitting 290 with 10 home runs, 38 RBIs. So a very good year for White Sox slugging first baseman, a bat that we might see traded at the trade deadline, considering the White Sox are out of it. And there is always a need for a bat in your lineup. Every team can use an extra player at the caliber of Jose Abreu. Mitch Moreland of the Red Sox follows close behind. He has 241,000 votes from the Red Sox, faithful and other baseball fans. I say the Red Sox faithful because really All-Star voting is whoever's fans come out and vote more. You'll see, even if a player like at the catcher position, for instance, is Gary Sanchez, is not doing too well, you'll see the Yankees fans get out and vote a lot, and he will be up there even though he may not be deserving of an All-Star position. But
that tends to happen a lot with Yankees and Red Sox.
Yes, there's a lot of those people in this world. But back to Mitch Moreland hitting 287. Definitely one of the better moves by the Red Sox. A lot of Red Sox fans may have wanted Hosmer to play first base. Well, take a look at their stats in, I guess, the middle of June, and Mitch Moreland is doing better, a more productive hitter for the Red Sox. So very interesting to see, a very smart move by the Red Sox front office. At second base, no surprise here. The leader is Jose Altuve. He is leading by, get this, 500,000 votes. And he already has 700,000 votes. None of the other players even have half that many that I've named so far on the list. We will see as we go down the list. But Jose Altuve with 700,000 votes, that is an insane amount. As he is definitely deserving of that, of all the votes he receives. At third base, Jose Ramirez, the Indians' third baseman, leads the way, one of the best third basemen in all of baseball, in my opinion. Ramirez on the season hitting 290, and he has a 387 on-base percentage, 19 home runs already, and 43 driven in. Outstanding year for Jose Abreu so far. Now on to shortstop. It is a familiar name at a new position. Manny Machado of the Baltimore Orioles has over 320,000 votes. edging out guys like Francisco Lindor, Didi Gregorius, Carlos Correa, and Jordan Simmons. A lot of other players having really good years. But Manny Machado making the transition from third base to shortstop during the offseason has taken the AL shortstop position by storm, as he has proven he is capable of playing it even on a Orioles team that has not done too good this year. Machado hitting over 300 with 18 home runs and already 50 RBIs on the year. And we're just in the middle of June, so a outstanding year already from Manny Machado. Now, in the outfield, it is not strictly by position, but just the three outfielders, regardless of if they play left field, center field, or right field. On top is Mookie Betts. He is the leading vote getter, and I notice here the top three outfielders are about 300,000 and then some above the rest of the competition at the outfield position. But they are as follows: Mookie Betts, Mike Trout, and Aaron Judge. No surprise there. Three of the best in the game. Mookie Betts is actually the leading vote getter to this point. He has 748,000 votes. And then followed by Mike Trout and Aaron Judge. Like I said, they have kind of a big lead. The fourth outfielder is Indians outfielder Michael Brantley. But Trout and Judge, obviously no surprise. Trout may very well be the best hitter in the game of baseball right now. And Aaron Judge, of course, all the Yankees fans love him, and, well, he definitely deserves it, given his play. And he's a player I think a lot of fans want to see in the All-Star game. Hitting .270 with 18 home runs on the year, obviously. Maybe seeing him in a home run derby would please some more fans, but seeing him in an All-Star game is also special, too. They don't announce the home run derby until about a week or two before the actual game, so we still have a ways to go before that.
Yes.
But that will do it for the American League. Obviously, no pitchers are voted on. All pitchers are selected by the managers and the pitching staff and the fellow players of the league. That will bring us to the National League now, where, like we did in the AL, we will start with the catcher position. We are going to start with Giants catcher Buster Posey. Hitting .293 on the year has been a bright spot in a Giants order that has not had a lot of other bright spots. Brandon Belt is one of those other bright spots, but he is injured, so Buster Posey has been leaned on to carry the load in San Francisco for a while. Wilson Contreras of the Cubs is close behind him in second place, and then Kurt Suzuki of the Braves, Francisco Cervelli of the Pirates, and Yadier Molina of the Cardinals. I'm surprised Yadier Molina hasn't received more votes. He's usually always up there just because of how good he is, his defensive ability, and now how great of a hitter he is. At first base, I already mentioned Brandon Belt. He is not in third. Or he's not in first, he is in third. What am I saying? He is in third place. Behind the leading vote getter, Freddie Freeman, actually. Freddie Freeman of the Atlanta Braves has had quite the year, leading the Braves to some success that not a lot of people had predicted for the Atlanta Braves at the beginning of the season. Freddie Freeman hitting over .340 on the year with 13 home runs and 46 RBIs. If Freddie Freeman does not start the All-Star game at first base, barring a complete meltdown from him, I would have a hard time picturing any of these other guys on the list getting the nod over him. Anthony Rizzo, who is in second place, is only hitting 246, and well, that's because all the Cubs fans, ever since they won the World Series, think the Cubs are good all of a sudden.
I mean, they are they not? Are the Cubs not a good baseball team?
Good. They're good, but the players haven't. Some of the players, like Anthony Rizzo, I mentioned, hitting 246.
Batting averages and everything.
You're ideal.
Would you say he's a Gold Glove first baseman? I would.
Oh, he's Gold Glove caliber, yes.
Okay, that's all you need. Not all you need. I shouldn't say that, because that would be saying everybody who went to Gold Glove is an all-star. That's not true.
Right.
But he hits for power, and maybe he's not going to be a guy that hits for average, but as a first baseman, do you really want a guy like DJ LeMahieu who's going to hit, 320 and get singles? Or do you need power out of the first base position, and Anthony Rizzo definitely provides that?
Yes, with all his 11 home runs on the year.
He only has 11, but we're also not halfway through the year.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good amount. I should not be bashing Anthony Rizzo so much. Cody Bellinger is in fourth, and Joey Votto of the Reds is in fifth. Now, moving on to second base, a very interesting race at second base. At least I think so. The top three spots are the closest I've seen so far. Ozzie Albies, the young leader of the Atlanta Braves team, has really come up and played well in his rookie season, a potential Rookie of the Year candidate later on down the road. But with 16 home runs and 40 RBIs, hitting .255, certainly good to see a young player come up and have success at the big league level, and also lead his team, as the Braves have played very well to begin the year. But second is...
Wait, before... Okay, you're already on the second base. Can we talk about first base for a minute? Where is Max Muncy in the voting?
Fans don't know Max Muncy.
But he's a
the
Dodger.
Average. Right.
Dodgers fans should get up there and vote. Well, they didn't get up there and vote last year.
Well,
and then their closer got mad at them.
Cody Bellinger is on the ballot.
Oh, I bet Max Muncy isn't even on the ballot.
Exactly.
Okay, never mind. He'll be in those.
Max Muncy?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Imagine saying in February, what would the Dodgers be like without Max Muncy? This guy didn't even play a big league game last year, and prior to this year, his highest career average came in 2015, his rookie year, where he hit .206. In 2016, he hit .186. Now he's hitting .272 with 12 home runs and 28 RBIs for a team that almost won the World Series last year. Max Muncy, everybody, get to know him. Let's see, I'm just looking at some other stats of his. OPS, on base percentage, .395, that's pretty good. Slugging, .616.
So that's really good.
Yes, very good. Show player value.
Definitely, if you want a write-in vote or are trying to find someone, well, Max Muncy might be your guy.
Yes.
Well, back to second base now. Another Cub underperforming, despite getting a lot of all-star votes, is Javier Baez. We talked a lot about this on our show last year, and I think last year it was a little more evident with a lot of the Cubs leading the way. Now the Cubs have kind of died down a little bit. Maybe they're third or second in the vote getting, but Javier Baez barely hitting over .250. 14 home runs, so the power is still there, and a very good defensive second baseman, if I do say so myself. But there are definitely a few more, I would say, deserving NL second base candidates. Like maybe this man in third of the Cincinnati Reds, Scooter Gennett. Scooter Gennett's a guy with a very sneaky pop in the Reds lineup, hitting .340 this year, 12 home runs, and 47 RBIs. He had a stretch. He was playing the Rockies. He came to Coors Field for a bit and hit about 3 home runs.
The Rockies couldn't get him out, just like Paul Goldschmidt.
Yes. The Rockies seem to struggle with a few hitters here and there. I mean, it happens to everybody, but...
Can the Rockies trade for those hitters? So that they'll hit just not against the Rockies, they'll hit for the Rockies.
Yes, they seem to really like Coors Field. Scooter Gennett.
A lot of hitters do, but even when we went to Cincinnati, we couldn't get Scooter Gennett out.
Right. So is it really Coors Field, or is it just Scooter Gennett is maybe a good player?
Maybe he's a good player.
Yeah, maybe the league should take notice of his .340 batting average.
Wow. I knew it was going to be high, but wow. Is he leading the league in batting average? We can check that later. We'll check that later. Let's get back to the All-Star.
I know for a fact that he isn't. But on to third base. No real surprise here. Nolan Arenado in first place. 200,000 votes ahead of Chris Bryant. But Arenado has... While I wouldn't say he's played his best this year, he certainly had an all-star caliber year, which is what, as Rockies fans, we've come to expect. He's hitting .313, by far his best average of his career. 12 home runs and 36 RBIs. So while he's not driving in the runs, he's still getting enough hits. Chris Bryant, I mentioned, was second on the list. So far on the year, Chris Bryant has a .286 average with just 8 home runs and 29 RBIs. Just sort of I'd say .286 is about where Chris Bryant's career average is at. His career average, I guess.
The average of his career average.
Yes.
That's something funny.
But still a all-star caliber year, I guess you could say, for Chris Bryant. Then here's a really interesting player. The Braves, a lot of young players. Here is another one. Johan Camargo, the switch-hitting third baseman. Could you call it the Braves boost? I call it the Cubs boost in all-star votes earlier. Well, Johan here is hitting just .212 and has had just 130 at-bats, yet he is third in the third base vote.
How?
Braves
Wait,
fans,
who is behind them at third base? Like fourth or fifth?
fourth is Eugenio Suarez, and fifth is Justin Turner.
Justin Turner?
Yes.
Hasn't he not played it? Wasn't he coming back soon from injury? Has he played at all?
He's had 70 at-bats this year, but... yeah. Owen just put his head down.
Why?
In disgust.
That's how you know people who vote for this don't watch baseball. Justin Turner was hurt at the beginning of the year. He doesn't even have 100 at-bats yet. And he's top 5 in the NL All-Star game. Okay.
I mean, he's not going to be an all-star, so I don't think you have to worry too much.
Yeah, I guess. As long as they don't win the fan vote. Because the rest is decided by players and managers, so... Okay, I'm fine with that.
Would it make you happy if I told you that Eugenio Suarez was hitting over 300 and had...
I know Suarez.
And had 180 at-bats?
Yes, Suarez is playing good.
Yes, the Cubs have a few good pieces.
Except Eugenio Suarez doesn't play for the Cubs, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Oh, the Reds have a few good pieces. Sorry, I misspoke. I was reading Chris Bryant. I read Cubs. Sorry. Anyways,
he's hitting .301.
Yes, he is. On to the shortstop position in the National League. The leading vote getter at the shortstop position is Brandon Crawford of the San Francisco Giants. He has over 466,000 votes. Brandon Crawford hitting .329 on the year with 220 at-bats. 8 home runs, 32 RBIs. One of the reasons this Giants team has been able to stay afloat despite some injuries to the pitching staff. guys like Brandon Crawford, Buster Posey, Brandon Belt, they're guys you should count on, have definitely performed. So when the Giants get that pitching staff back, they are a team to watch out for when everything goes right. I think this Giants team can definitely contend for the NL West, and with the exception of the injuries to the pitching staff, like I mentioned, for the most part it has gone right for the Giants this year. We'll get to that probably later in our standings update, but second on the shortstop list is Dansby Swanson of the Atlanta Braves. Swanson is hitting .265 this year. He has an on-base percentage of .321.
Oh, here we go. I found him.
What did you find?
Dansby Swanson.
Oh, okay.
266 with 6 home runs, 25 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, an OPS of 765.
Good.
James Dansby Swanson.
Good.
His first name is James.
Yes, it is.
But he goes by Dansby because Dansby's his middle name. Useless facts of the day with Owen Nolan.
Yes, third on the list.
Yes.
So many Braves and Cubs on this list. It sort of angers me to a certain extent. But
who is it? Go ahead.
Addison Russell, hitting .267.
Is Trevor Story 4th or 5th?
Trevor Story is 5th.
Oh.
Trey Turner is 4th. Trey Turner of the Washington Nationals. 4th on the list, hitting .254. But that is that now.
What's Addison Russell hitting?
.267.
Okay. How many home runs does he have?
Let me look this up real quick. He has 2 home runs.
Addison Russell only has 2 home runs?
Yes.
Okay, how many RBIs does he have?
14.
What? Has he been hurt?
Nope, he's had 191 at-bats.
How many games has he played?
56.
56?
Yes.
So he hasn't played in every game.
Right.
So Trevor Story should be ahead of him.
Well,
I think so.
Trevor Story may be the more deserving player. Yes, you could say.
Rocket fans need to get out and vote for Trevor Story just so I don't have to watch Addison Russell in the All-Star.
Don't worry. Like I said earlier, these guys that do not put up good numbers and are top 5 in this voting will not be All-Stars. No need to worry. The players and the managers usually do a good job. I really like getting the players involved in recent years. I think they less snubs, you could say, I guess. In the past, I can always recall 1 or 2 like blatantly obvious players that were left off the list. And last year or the year before, not too many. But in the outfield, you guys know how the outfield works. Regardless of position, they will take the top 3. Bryce Harper is leading the way. Nick Markakis is 2nd, and Matt Kemp is 3rd. The revival of Matt Kemp's career. Back.
Talk about a guy who's having a good year. Both Markakis and Matt Kemp are having great years for their respective teams.
Yes, if I were to say there was a spot where the fans have nailed it, I would say it's the outfield.
I would agree with that.
I mean, you can make an argument for a guy like Charlie Blackmon over Bryce Harper. But
really, I'm not too upset with that. I think they got it right.
Yeah, Charlie Blackmon has not played up to the level that a lot of people expect him to play at this year.
And yet he's quietly still hitting .286.
Yes, very quietly.
It seems like, and maybe it's because I'm a Rockies fan, but it seems like he just hasn't been himself this year. But he's hitting .286, which is not bad. And he's getting pitched to differently. I think pitchers fear him more. He's had to hit in a lot of different spots in the lineup, leadoff, second, third, fourth. It's been interesting to see how they've pitched him because they've definitely pitched him differently this year than last year. Pitchers respect him more, and so he'll have to adjust. It's a game of adjustments. As a hitter, you might come up and have a hot start, then the pitchers will get scouting reports, they'll adjust to you, you'll adjust to them. Sort of a cycle of adjustments that needs to be made if you want to stick in the big leagues and have a long career. Charlie Blackmon will make those adjustments, and he has started to hit a lot better now. Hitting, like I said, 286.
Yes. That will now bring us to the standings update. We are going to start like we always do in the American League. Owen, you can start East or West. I do not care.
I will start with the American League East, which is many consider one of the more interesting division races, at least between the top two teams. It's the Yankees, it's the Red Sox. They are currently tied for first place in the American League East. Boston has 3 more wins than the Yankees, but the Yankees have 3 less losses, thus the tie. After that, it's not really close. The Tampa Bay Rays sit at 31 and 35. They're 14 games out. Toronto and Baltimore are also struggling. Baltimore still doesn't have 20 wins yet. They're stuck at 19. They're on a 6-game losing streak and are 2-8 in their last 10 games. After New York and Boston, it's 3 sub-500 teams. In the American League Central, the Indians are slowly, I think, starting to take control in that division. They have a 5-game lead. They're 35 and 30, 5 games above 500. The Twins are 29 and 34. Detroit is in third. They're at 31 and 37, although they did just lose Miguel Cabrera for the year. He got injured today, and it was announced actually during the show at the very beginning that Miguel Cabrera, the Tigers slugger, would be out for the entire year.
Yes, he ruptured a tendon in his bicep, which is never good.
That does not sound fun.
Does not sound fun at all. He will have surgery on the tendon. And like Owen mentioned, he will miss the rest of the season. I'll just get to this now. Bryce Harper fouled a ball off his foot tonight. And we do not have an update yet on him. We hope he is alright, but he did have to exit the game. Alright, you can get back to your standings.
Back to the standings in the American League Central. After the Tigers, it's the Chicago White Sox in 4th. And the Kansas City Royals in last place. So, get this. The Tampa Bay Rays are in 3rd in the AL East. They're 14 games out. The last place team in the Central is also 14 games out. Shows you, I think, how good the Red Sox and Yankees have been this year. Because the Twins have a similar record to the Rays, but they're only 5 games out in their respective division. Moving on to the last division in the American League is the American League West. The Seattle Mariners. What a surprise they've been. They are in first place of the AL West. 42 and 24 is their record. They're half a game up on the defending world champion Houston Astros. And 5.5 up on the Los Angeles Angels. Which reminds me, have we talked about Ohtani yet?
No, we haven't.
We have not. Are you going to do that, or do you want me to just do that right now?
Right now.
Okay, Shohei Ohtani was pulled from his last start in the 5th inning, or I think while he was warming up in the 5th inning, with a forearm tightness. It turned out that he may have a torn UCL, which for those of you that don't know is the ligament that requires Tommy John surgery, so it looks like Ohtani might be done for the rest of the year. Terrible news for the Los Angeles Angels. Shohei Ohtani, of course, the phenomenal two-way star.
Terrible news for really all of baseball.
Yes, that is true. Shohei Ohtani Is it official that he's going to need Tommy John surgery, or is that...
No.
No, it hasn't been confirmed, but right now it's likely that he gets Tommy John surgery and will be done for the year. Moving on to the next two teams, another surprise, the Oakland A's. It's actually kind of unfortunate they play in the AL West because they're in fourth place, but they're 2 games above 500, and they're 8 games out of the Seattle Mariners. The Texas Rangers are in last of that division, 27-41, 16 games back. So they're as many games back of Oakland as Oakland is of the first place team in their division. And Texas then is 16 games back of the Seattle Mariners. To the National League standings now.
Yes, we will start in the National League East. The Atlanta Braves still sit on top of the NL East, although just slightly, the Nationals continue to close that gap. The Nationals are now just 1 game back. Atlanta is 10 games above 500. They have a 38-28 record. The Nationals sit at 36-28, followed closely by the Philadelphia Phillies, who sit 4 games above 500 at 34-30. The New York Mets, who just continue to trend in the wrong direction, sit at 28-35. They are in 4th place. And the Miami Marlins are in the cellar of the NL East. They sit at 25-42. Now on to the National League Central. We'll start with the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. They have a record of 40-27. They sit half a game up on the Chicago Cubs, who sit at 38-26. The Brewers and the Cubs are currently playing a 3-game set in Milwaukee. The Brewers entered today trailing by half a game, but now I mentioned they are up by half a game. That is because they defeated the Chicago Cubs today 4-0. The St. Louis Cardinals, the other team with a shot in that division, they are 3 games out. They sit at 36-29. The Pirates are in 4th of that division, and the Reds are in 5th. The Pirates got off to a hot start, have cooled down since. They've actually lost 7 out of their last 10 and sit at 32-34. The record dropped below 500. The Cincinnati Reds now only have 24 wins and are in last place of the Central. They have 43 losses and are 16 games out of the Milwaukee Brewers. Now to the always entertaining and ever-changing NL West. The Arizona Diamondbacks claimed the division lead last week and sit at 36-29. I'm going to go through these next 3 teams pretty quickly because they're all really close together. You have the Dodgers just 3 games back, the Giants 1 game back of the Dodgers and 4 games back of the Diamondbacks. And then the Rockies 1.5 games back of the Dodgers and 4.5 games back of the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks, winners of 8 out of their last 10, currently riding a 4-game win streak, are starting to extend their lead in the division, although just slightly. Then you have 3 teams, the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Rockies, all smashed together there. Spots in the middle of that division, separated by 1.5 games. The Rockies currently riding a 5-game losing streak and losers of 8 out of their last 10. Have not played very well recently. Have just struggled with a lot of aspects. But they have fallen all the way to fourth in the division. And then, of course, you have the San Diego Padres, who, although they are just 6 games out, are 32-37. That will do it for our standings update for the evening. And you already covered all the injuries I was going to get to. During the standings update, we were able to work those into the show. So that will do it for our show, unless you have anything else to add.
No, I think that's it. We'll cover some college baseball next week.
Yes, I will make sure to include that on the show. We've had some very exciting super regional action.
And now on to Omaha. Next week we'll have some games in Omaha to talk about.
Yes.
First games start on Saturday in the College World Series. That will be exciting, as well as, of course, lots of Major League action to watch this week. Baseball's always exciting. Always.
Yes, at any level. But that will do it for tonight's show of Extra Innings. You have been listening to Extra Innings on National Sports Radio and on Spreaker.com. We'd like to thank you for listening whenever and however. We will be back next week, same time, same place.